Hello everyone, it is April 3rd, it's Friday, and it is a nice day here. Hopefully everyone's had a good week. It's been a very interesting week of trading, and there's been a lot of surprises. One of these is the cruise line industry. The cruise line industry historically was relatively stable as long-term investments, but we've recently seen with this huge economic crisis that it's not as stable as people thought it was. When we look at major cruise lines like Carnival, Norwegian Cruise Line, and Royal Caribbean, this is such a crazy situation as these stocks in the past 2 or 3 months have plummeted respectively about 85% of their original value from December or January. It's unbelievable. This is unprecedented, and Carnival hasn't been this low since their stock IPO. That puts in perspective. And we also saw that on Tuesday, Carnival did a secondary offering, and this liquidated or greatly reduced the value of outstanding shares. Overnight, it dropped a further 34%, which then it really caused panic for long-term investors. But I think the stock's going to bounce back pending the company can remain operating, and that this situation doesn't persist too long, because as long as they can get back to sea and continue doing cruises, I think they'll be able to get through these murky waters. It's just a matter of them showing that it's safe to do cruises, and this is a hospitality industry, and it also depends on people having enough disposable income. One fortunate aspect for cruise lines is that overall their prices, especially for Carnival, which is a more budget-based cruise line, has greatly gone down compared to 20 years ago. It's much more affordable now for the common person to cruise than it was before. And many people will actually do cruises as more of a budget kind of vacation, which is quite different than, say, 25 years ago, where it was much more of a luxury. This company is at all-time low support levels, the stock, and it's very tricky right now because they have to keep their operations going. They most likely won't get bailout because they're not a U.S. domiciled company, and Royal Caribbean isn't either. When they did do this public offering, what this is that this adds shares to the company. It creates more shares. It's kind of like when the government creates more money, and we know what happens then. It lowers the value of the money as a whole, and this is exactly what happens with stocks. Public offerings add more stocks to the company. It reduces the value of the company. So it takes time, of course, to rebuild that value of those added shares, but it can occur. The main thing that is afflicting this company and other cruise line companies is that they don't have the same options that, say, technology, medical company, other industries out there. They don't receive a lot of government funds, and there's just not a lot of options for them. It's very much dependent on having shareholders and also having a very large amount of cash coming in. They very much rely on cash flow, and it's not a very high margin based industry, so that also plays a role. Now, one thing that is very favorable though for the cruise line industry as a whole is that there's not a lot of competitors, because this industry requires a lot of upfront capital, and it also requires continued major investments in infrastructure, and the whole system has to be very well thought out. Companies in this industry need to have very large war chest of funds, and so due to this and other factors, there's not a lot of competitors, and I think that's also very favorable for these companies because there's not a lot of options for customers to choose from if they want to take a cruise. At the end of the day, I believe these are very good stock buys right now. I myself have invested in Carnival. There may be a short-term bump in the next few weeks, and then the stock could go down a bit, or these three stocks, and then slowly go back up to their previous highs. But that will just take time, and like anything, I think people just have to be cautious. So give me your feedback below, and thank you.